Hi everyone, it's Louis Fernandez here with the LRF Group with Berkshire Hathaway, and today we're going to discuss briefly the second quarter Miami market report, which will consist of the Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. We're going to concentrate mostly on the condo market because there's been such a lot of news lately about the condo market crisis here in the state of Florida, and we're going to go into depth into a little bit of analysis and break that down for you. I want to first of all thank ISG and the multiple listing service for their report, because I'm basically using it directly to go over it with you today. So let's get right to it. As you can see, from the first quarter of 2024 to the second, we've had an increase in the condo units up to 20,293 in the Tri-County area. If you break down this amount into age group of these units and buildings, you notice that those that are 10 years or younger, there are only 709 units, for example, in the Tri-County area, and those between 10 and 30 years, there's only 1,788. However, when you get to the 30-year plus buildings and units, you've got an increase of 17,796 units. And it's actually, out of these 20,000 or so in total, 90% of them, they constitute the units that are older than 30 years. Comparing Q1 and Q2 of 2024 of the units that are 10 years or less, you're averaging on a quarterly basis about adding 610 units, and you're selling 237, which leaves you a supply of inventory of between 3 to 6 months, which is a very healthy market. Very healthy market. You wouldn't think it, though, of all the news you're hearing about all the condo crisis that we're having. That reflects an appreciation rate of 9% for units that are 10 years or less in terms of construction. Jumping on to the second category, between 10 and 30, you've got, again, 1,778 units in the Tri-County area. You're adding per quarter 1,620 units, but we're selling 662 of them, averaging per quarter, which gives us even a tighter market of 2 to 4 months. Definitely a seller's market, which also indicates an appreciation rate of 7%. Again, it defies the anecdotal conversations you're having and you're hearing about the condo market here in South Florida in particular. However, once you get to the older units that are 30 years or more, of course, you see the increase from the first quarter to the second quarter to 17,776 units. You're adding 3,172 units per quarter, but we're only selling 382, which gives us an oversupply of 24 months. And of course, the depreciation now is 19%, which is significant. I just want to add that this is where the crisis is. And again, let me backtrack a little bit here, because I apologize, because the reason for this issue that we're having here in the state of Florida is because of what happened 3 years ago in the Surfside, the Champlain Towers, which was an older building that wasn't being maintained. The building collapsed, and unfortunately, because it was a tragic death, over 100 residents died in that incident, which then a law was passed in the state of Florida, which in January 1st of 2025, all the condo buildings in the state of Florida has to have 100% reserves, and they have to address all their structural issues and replacement costs, and they cannot waive the reserve. So it's a statutory law, and what that's done is it's pushed condominiums and the condo associations to increase the maintenance fee and to add special assessments to catch up to that reserve threshold of 100%, and also to start affecting the structural issues that they may have in their particular buildings. That being said, though, that's causing a huge crisis with homeowners, especially of the older units, that now are facing higher maintenance fee, special assessments, and they can't afford to live there, and so they're having to sell their units. And of course, buyers are very hesitant, rightly so, because they have to incur those maintenance fees, those special assessments if they happen to purchase those properties. And as well as banks are being hesitant to loan to borrowers for when they're looking at those particular buildings. However, that being said, again, if you have a good realtor to negotiate in your behalf, it could be a win-win for both parties, because if you happen to get those units at a discount, which you can, and you hold on to those units, once those structural issues are taken care of within the next 2 or 3 years, it's going to turn around completely. So it's depending upon the price point. If you're buying into an older building, it might be a good investment. Again, clearly, preferably the hot markets are the younger buildings, because you have less of those issues, less of those concerns. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't necessarily stay away from the older buildings. If you're a savvy buyer and you have a good agent that can negotiate on your behalf, it could be a win-win for both the buyer and the seller. It's food for thought. Let me jump back here. Let's look at homes for a second. From the first to the second quarter, we actually dropped in terms of available homes on the market. We're down to 10,733 single-family homes in the Tri-County area, and they're broken down into 3 categories. The A houses are homes that are 10 years or younger, and they're waterfront properties. Their averaging sale price is $18.5 million. B houses are similar to A, except they're not waterfront. And then you got the majority of you have the C houses that are averaging around $850,000. The appreciation rate of single-family homes in South Florida is 6%. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is only halfway through the year. Any of these appreciations that we talked about at the end of the year, as a seller, you'll be completely happy and ecstatic. So, let's put things into perspective of what's really happening here. And it's not like the real estate market here in South Florida is collapsing or coming to an end. It's far from it, as these statistics are showing you. Now, this graph here talks about the condo buildings that have been built throughout the decades. You can barely see it, and I apologize for that. But between 2001 and 2010, we had 275 buildings that consisted of close to 59,000 units, which that was an overabundance of units. It took many, many years for those units to be absorbed into the market. But then between 2012 and 2020, we had about 123 buildings, which consisted of about close to 20,000 units. And by the way, the sweet spot here in South Florida in terms of condo units is between 20 to 25,000 units. However, in this current decade, we're only estimated right now to have completed close to 11,322 units, which is way below what is required to keep pace with demand. So unless things change drastically, we're going to have the condo market is going to be tight for many years to come. This is a little fun stat here. From 2013, California was the #1 state in terms of people moving into. How things have changed now. Last year it was Texas, and Florida was ranked second. Actually, California was ranked last. It was losing, I think, more than close to 250 people per day. And New York was 49th, unfortunately, as well, in terms of population decrease. And if Florida was a country in itself, it would be the 14th largest economy in the world, ahead of Mexico and Russia. So, we have a very strong and healthy market here in Florida still. The world's not coming to an end, at least in regards to the real estate market here. There are opportunities in the condo market, especially in the older buildings, to pick up some of these units at a discount price. So I would not necessarily say don't buy into them. It depends upon the price point in which you happen to acquire them. But if you're looking at younger buildings, it's a tight market, and it's still a very healthy market. Single family home, again, as well. There's just very few homes available on the market. Interest rates are beginning to drop. We're under 7%, which is a good sign for us, and of course for the country. And of course, if you're a buyer that's on the fence, I would definitely say, hey, look, don't wait for the rates to continue to drop, because what's available and what everyone wants, that is going to be a very tough product to purchase, because as the rates drop, you get more buyers back into the mix, and it's an issue of supply and demand. So if you're thinking of moving down here in South Florida, though, we can help you. We're licensed in New York. We're a relocation team. We can help you anywhere from where you're moving from across the country, or even from anywhere around the world. And thank you so much for watching, and keep watching out for us, because we're looking out for you and the best interest of your property. Until the very next time, all the best.